First up will be item number 4, AB 2307. And the chair has a due pass recommendation as amended.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Next bill that I'd like to present has to do with skimmers, cart skimmers. I want to start by accepting as author's amendments the amendments listed on page 3 of the analysis to clarify that county sealers will coordinate with the appropriate law enforcement authorities as needed in the investigation and the prosecuting of criminal activities. AB 2307 protects consumers from credit card fraud and identity theft at the gas pump by requiring service agents to report to the county sealer any credit card skimming devices found in the course of their work. Credit card skimmers are devices inserted by criminals into a gas pump where they collect information from the credit cards being used, including the PIN numbers and also security codes. The information is then either collected later by the criminal or is transmitted wirelessly to a computer where it can be collected and then used to commit fraud. More and more, California is seeing this activity. In fact, in 2015, there was an inspection conducted at 33 different gas stations in Los Angeles and also Ventura County by folks from, let's say, the LA County Agricultural Commissioner's Office and other federal and local law agencies. Now, unfortunately, they revealed that they found 10 of these credit card skimmers located at 8 gas stations. There's no uniform process for dealing with these devices when they are discovered by a service agent working on a gas pump in California. And reports from county sealers throughout California indicate that service agents often dispose of these skimmers into the garbage or hand them over to gas station attendants instead of reporting these problems. AB 2307 will require service agents to report these credit card skimming devices and turn them in within 24 hours to their county sealers or law enforcement. And I have Matt Severlink on behalf of my sponsor, the California Agricultural Commissioners and Sealers Association, here to testify in support of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chow. My name is Matt Seiberling. I'm here on behalf of the California Agricultural Commissioners and Sealers Association, representing the county sealers across the state of California. As Mr. Chow said, my folks are out in the field doing inspections of gas pumps up and down the state from county to county, and from time to time are stumbling upon these credit card skimming devices, which are not weights and measures devices, but they're identity theft, financial data stealing devices. Our folks don't have jurisdiction over those based on our role in weights and measures, but again, we are highly in tune with the people who are out making repairs to gas pumps, who are finding these, and who don't know what to do with them currently under current law. So simply our bill would basically say that they need to contact the county sealer within 24 hours. Our folks are currently working with federal officials, with the Secret Service, dealing with counterfeit, wire transfer fraud, credit fraud, to go out and do more active work on this and have strong relationships that we're building with them. So we think that we are an appropriate group to receive this evidence, pass it up the chain to the appropriate law enforcement group, and attempt to start to get an idea of the scope of this problem and try to come up with a way to address it in the very near future. I respectfully request your aye vote.
Have a motion and a second. Any others here in support? Any others in what?
That's one more comment, sir.
Sure, why not?
I know you're trying to move along, but I did want to point out that we did work with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department Cyber Fraud Unit. They were kind enough to drive out the tools of the trade of these folks who install these into the gas pumps. Mr. Chow's holding a typical skimming device that we would pull out of a pump. These are contained within the infrastructure of the dispenser, not viewable to the naked eye or from the outside. And basically everything in this box and on this table is what you would need to steal whatever you would need to move forward and go on a shopping spree. So just wanted to show that to the committee and make you aware of it.
Shopping spree, maybe my wife wants one of those. Any comments in opposition? Seeing none, any comments, questions, or concerns from members? Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, just I very much, having been a county supervisor, respect the role of sealers. I'm just curious, though, it seems like we're going through a two-step process, a report to a sealer, and then the sealer reports to law enforcement. Why not direct to law enforcement?
We have existing relationships with the folks who are out doing all these repairs. Basically, the way this works now is county sealers inspect weighing and measuring devices. In this case, we're talking about gas pumps. If and when we take one of these devices out of service, the only way to place that gas pump back into service is to have a service agent who's regulated by the Department of Food and Agriculture come out and make that repair. These are the folks that are typically going to find these, and they already have an existing mandate to contact the county sealer within 24 hours of making that repair. So we figured that using the existing infrastructure and the boots on the ground and the relationships we have with those folks, it would be not having to reinvent the wheel or create a new process for those folks to comply with.
Okay.
Mr. Cooper?
And following up on Mr. Gordon's question, if you think about it, because it is evidentiary value, most of these folks that are doing these are organized crime. So if we can get possible fingerprints or evidence from this, does it make sense having those folks remove this when they have no law enforcement training versus having law enforcement come out, or if that's not feasible, having some type of chain of custody where this individual can remove this, secure it in case there is any evidentiary material located on that. So what's the training, what type of training do these folks receive in doing that?
So we're basically beginning to wrap our minds around how to best approach this problem. Right now, these people are staffed with getting those devices back into service as quickly as possible. That's their main goal is for the business owner to not have their gas dispenser taken out of service for an extended period of time. So the current practice now is to remove the skimmer from the device and put it back into service. But I'd like to work with you, if you're willing to work with us, to come at it from that point of view and make sure that we're not tampering intentionally or unintentionally with evidence, to make sure we can actually use it to go after these folks.
Right, because the big issue, you have thousands of card numbers on that device. Right. And they pull it off because I know the station owner wants his pump back in service so we can make money, but at the same time, you have a major problem in L.A. At the same time, we're just taking them off and, getting a legitimate one back on, and the problem continues to fester still. So to me, there should be some way that we can connect where it's being provided right away, but some type of relationship with law enforcement. I think that would be better for everybody all the way around.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Chow, you can close.
Thank you very much again. And as the witness indicated, there's much more that we can do in this particular area because this problem is getting more severe, and not only happening at gas stations, but also at ATM stations and the like. So this is something that we need to tackle as a team. So I welcome any and all input from members. And just to finish up the demonstration, this is the piece that goes into the gas pump itself. And once this gets mounted, then it starts collecting information. And then all is required is somebody pops open the gas, the cap, the cover, and then pop it open, retrieve this thing, and then stick it in here, connect it to this device. And then the information collected on this card, on this device, will be transferred over to this card, which can be used, for subsequent identity fraud. So it's that simple. So that problem, as I mentioned, is getting a lot more severe. So we need to get a handle on this. So with that, I respectfully ask for your support and a vote.
Okay, let's call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended to appropriations. Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker? Calderon? Calderon, aye. Chang? Chang, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Gatto? Gatto, aye. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe? Aye. Lowe, aye. Olson?
Congratulations, Mr. Chair. Your bill's out. And we're going to our last item of the day. Oh, my
God. Couple more.
This is an Ed Chow show.
This is Ed Chow show. There you go.
Okay, item 5, AB 2609.
It's chow time.
It is. I just had lunch.
Yeah.
And this has a due pass recommendation to education.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Chairman. AB 2609 is the next bill. This bill protects school-aged children from directly receiving potentially misleading solicitations from for-profit organizations to attend these so-called prestige conferences. These conferences are generally week-long educational trips for junior high and high school students that focus on a particular area of interest, for example, leadership training, governance, or science, and the like. However, some of these conferences, particularly those operated by for-profit organizations, are being marketed directly to students to give the appearance that they are a highly selective award or honor, when in fact they are simply an extensive sales pitch. Now, this practice raises concerns from both the privacy and also the consumer protection perspectives. First of all, students should not be targeted by expensive solicitations delivered directly at schools, but existing law does not prohibit this practice. Second, these solicitations can be misleading and manipulative because they are designed to look and sound like an award, and are oftentimes delivered by somebody they trust, and teachers at school, leading many students to believe that they've actually won something big that might increase their chances of, let's say, going to college. AB 2609 would enact some simple and reasonable protections for K-12 students by requiring all these organizations to address and deliver all the marketing materials to the parents instead of to the students, and also by requiring the solicitation materials to include certain disclosures, such as it is indeed a solicitation, the criteria being used, the itemized list of the cost of the program, and the amount of money that the organization has given to the school, etc. Now, this bill will give the students more protection from solicitations at school, and also give their families more control and better information to help them make decisions for the student's educational career. With that, I respectfully ask for your support and your vote.
Don't get ahead of yourselves, gentlemen. Any witnesses in support?
Samantha Corbin on behalf of Common Sense Media. We haven't taken a formal position yet, but I do anticipate we'll be in support before the next committee hearing. Thank you.
And thank you. Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, questions, comments, concerns from committee members? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and open. A number of questions. One that pops out to me is like, how long has this been going on, and is there really a problem? And then a follow-up: where do these companies get the information from about the students?
Yeah, I think this practice has been going on for a long time, and there are numerous organizations out there that are engaged in this activity. One of the most notable ones is an organization called EMI, which actually has subsidiary companies sending out information to various schools, for example, and asking teachers to nominate these students. So that's how usually is that practice is engaged in. And the EMI that I mentioned about. It stands for, this company based in Virginia. In fact, it's called it's called Envision EMI. That's the name of the company. And the subsidiaries that I mentioned include Congressional Youth Leadership Council, International Scholar Laureate Program, the National Young Youth Leadership Forum, and the National Young Scholars Program. So they run all these different programs, and they target teachers, for example, to do the nomination. And that's how most of these are done.
So a couple thoughts. Seems to me like maybe the culprit is potentially the teacher, one, and then two, I remember, 12 years ago I was working for a congressman, and a lot of parents would get these solicitations, and then they would call and ask, and I remember Googling them, and some of the like anything else, there's some excellent programs, and the programs that are not as good. With the internet, I think most people have access to that and can determine whether that's in the best interest of their children or not. But just curious, has there been a lot of unsatisfied parents?
We hear stories from different sources. Yet, I think, as to your point about teachers, I think teachers is only one of those many vehicles that whom they use to conduct this activity and practice. But there are other culprits out there too. So we don't want to single out one particular profession, for example. We want to address this issue as a on a broader basis. So this will cover teachers as well as other culprits too.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's move to a vote.
The motion is due pass to Education Committee. Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Not voting.
Wilk, not voting. Baker? Calderon? Calderon, aye. Chang? Chang, aye. Cooper? Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Gatto? Gatto, aye. Gordon? Gordon, aye. Lowe? Lowe, aye. Olson?
Congratulations, your bill's out.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the next bill, AB 2720.
Excuse me, I have the gavel.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Anyway, thank you for doing that. Item number 7, AB 2828. And before we proceed, I just want to commend myself for 2722. I want to commend myself for running a very efficient meeting today. But you may proceed, Mr. Chow.
Thank you one more time, Mr. Chairman. In recent years, many tech companies have established vulnerability report programs, also called bug bounty programs, to encourage and facilitate the reporting of cybersecurity flaws by creating a means to communicate and reward information about these vulnerabilities. Private sector bug bounty programs, such as those at Google, Facebook, and Netflix, even honor security researchers who report serious flaws in software or websites by giving out monetary rewards and posting names on a public Hall of Fame website. With cyber crimes and major hacking threats and incidents growing in frequency, we have to get creative as a state on how we approach cybersecurity. AB 2720 would borrow an industry best practice from Silicon Valley and apply it to the state government by establishing a first-of-its-kind program to improve the cybersecurity of state websites, networks, and also online services. Specifically, it authorizes the Office of Information Security within the California Department of Technology to establish a cybersecurity vulnerability reporting reward program, commonly known as the Bug Bounty Program, for the purposes of encouraging security researchers around the world to identify and report previously unknown vulnerabilities in state computer networks. The bill authorizes CDT, which is the California Department of Technology, pending appropriate funding, to offer monetary awards for eligible vulnerability reports. The bill is supported by California Chamber of Commerce, Internet Association, and also CompTIA. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my witnesses.
Mr. Chair, members, Jeremy Merz on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce. We are in support of this bill. We think it's an important tool in the data security tool bag. It's an innovative way to leverage outside resources to help the state's data security systems. We see it, as the chair mentioned, successfully used by a number of companies in private industry. It's part of their best practices, part of what they do to try and prevent hacks and breaches. So we thank the chair for bringing this bill, and we are supportive and urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Kelly Hitt on behalf of the Computing Technology Industry Association. We want to thank the chairman for bringing this bill. We do think that it's important for California agencies and departments to be made aware of potential cybersecurity threats, and we think that this bill is the proper way to go about it and basically emulate what the private sector is doing. Thank you.
Ms. Vice Chair and members, Robert Callahan with the Internet Association. We also support the bill. Echo the comments of the previous witnesses. Urge your support. Thank you.
Move the bill.
Here we have a motion and a second. Anybody else in support? We'll take Me Too's at this time. Thanks, Robert. Seeing none. Anybody in opposition? Seeing none, we will move to questions, comments, and concerns from committee members. Mr. Gordon? Then I feel obligated. So here's a question I have, and I know this is best practices. I've been down to Silicon Valley many a time, and it might not be fair. You might not know the answer, but maybe our people who testified who are now hiding. So the maximum amount that we're going to pay as a state to these hacker heroes is how much?
hackers. Well, as far as the monetary numbers, we haven't really decided on how much. We're going to be working with appropriations as we go along. If I remember correctly, Mr. Gatto had a bill last year that 2 years ago on innovation rewards, which basically I think it was like $75,000. But you tag on the expenses and expenditure to it, so that would be a little bit more than that. But that number, yeah.
So can you, Robert, answer like typically a tech company? Because here's what I'm afraid of: we do this, and then it's not enough, and so we're not really no one's doing our security. Because why, if we're giving them $5,000 and they can find a glitch in Google and they get $25,000, then what's the point of doing us? Just curious. Do you know?
So the payouts are based on the specifics of the vulnerability discovered and the validity and the severity. So it varies. It's hard to say what the marketplace would look like for this. I wouldn't suggest that the state shouldn't pursue this as a small step forward for the chance that it would be sufficient enough to have these researchers doing the work and finding some of these vulnerabilities. So it's hard to say that this wouldn't be enough to encourage people to participate.
Do you have any idea what any of your members pay?
It varies. It can be 5 digits.
Can you give me
certainly.
a low range to a high range, just out of curiosity?
It could be upwards of $20,000-$30,000 for a big find. It can be as low as probably $500. It sort of runs the whole gamut.
Is there published guidelines? Is there like anything like published guidelines or something that we could take a look at moving forward, or is that like proprietary internal documents for
in terms of the guidelines for yes, so you can, so for many of the companies that are doing it,
do we have to find a hacker to go in and get it for us?
No, there's most of the stuff is pretty transparent and available on public websites. For anybody interested, you can go look and see what the sort of the context and the requirements would be to submit a valid finding, and there's even descriptions and suggestions on how to describe those vulnerabilities and how they would be taken advantage of very specifically to make it easier on the company side to sort of go through the many that they receive to find the real ones. So that's all pretty publicly available. I think the analysis did a great job talking about a lot of the private sector efforts that have occurred so far.
Great. I appreciate your testimony. Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Chow, if you'd like to move to your close.
Oh, absolutely. I respectfully ask for your vote.
All right. What? Yeah, thank you. Oh, my gosh. I'm like being married again. Okay. This is due pass recommendation to appropriations. So at this time, if we could call the roll.
Chow.
Aye.
Chow, I. Wilk.
Aye.
Wilk, I. Baker. Calderon. Aye. Calderon, I. Chang. Chang, I. Cooper. Aye. Cooper, I. DeBobne. Gatto. Yes. Gatto, I. Gordon. Aye. Gordon, I. Lowe. Aye. Lowe, I. Olson. One more.
All right, and our final bill of the day, item 7, AB 2828, by Mr. Chow, and it has a due pass recommendation to appropriations.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. As we know, data breaches are becoming increasingly sophisticated. Hackers are constantly looking for new and innovative ways to penetrate networks, such as gaining access to encryption keys or security credentials in order to access encrypted data. For example, in February 2015, criminals accessed personal information, including names, addresses, birth dates, and social security numbers of more than 80 million patients covered by one of the country's largest healthcare provider, insurance. Also, the incident was the biggest theft of healthcare data in history. The data was not encrypted, which is what triggered a breach notice to the 80 million victims under current state and federal laws. However, even if the data had been encrypted, the data could have been still compromised because the hackers, in fact, gained access to at least 5 sets of employee credentials or keys, which could have been used to unlock the encryption. And security experts contend that encryption by itself cannot thwart criminals if the hack involves gaining access to security credentials. AB 2828 will fix that problem by expanding data breach notification law, which currently requires notice to consumers of the compromised unencrypted data, personal data, to also include the encrypted information if the encryption key has been compromised or stolen. Now, the expansion of the breach notice requirement under the bill reflects what has become an industry best practice since the original passage of the breach notice bill more than a decade ago. The bill is supported by ACLU, Consumer Federation of California, Electronic Frontier Foundation, and also Privacy Rights Clearinghouse. So with that, I respectfully ask for your vote.
Yeah, move the bill.
Thank you. And
briefly, there's budget committee going on. Briefly.
Very briefly, Samantha Corbin on behalf of both Privacy Rights Clearinghouse as well as the Electronic Frontier Foundation in support of the measure. ACLU had to leave. Maybe they were off to budget committee, but also asked that I pass on their support as well. Thank you.
Any others?
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Consumer Federation of California in support of the bill.
Any else? Anybody else in favor? Those in opposition?
Jeremy Merz on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce. We are not in opposition. We are generally supportive of this concept. I'd like to lay out 14 points about why this may be a couple issues. Now, it's generally speaking, you lose the encryption key and you lose the data, then you shouldn't get the safe harbor. We get that piece. We just think that there needs to be a nexus between the data being breached and the encryption key such that that data can be made readable or usable, so you don't just lose the safe harbor into eternity because you may have had one key breached at one point in time. So we've worked with the author's office on this. We're having good discussions there, and we hope to find a resolution. So again, no opposition, just a point of concern.
Robert Callahan with the Internet Association, identical position. We think the nexus needs to be firmed up a little bit, but otherwise support the concept. So thank you.
Any questions, comments, concerns from committee members? Oh, we got one more?
Oops. Sorry, my name's Tony Vargas. So I have a question about the bill and the economic impact. So there's an AB 1681, which is a smartphone, which is basically going to say that you have to have the ability to break the phone. So how is this going to combat with this law? So you have two laws that are competing against each other.
I'm sorry, because you went real quick. Can you again give your name if there's any title that goes along with that slowly so we can get it for the record?
Yeah, Tony Vargas, cybersecurity expert. So the question is you have two laws that are in there. Do you want more information? So you have two laws. You have Cooper, which is the smartphone bill, which would be in conjunction with this. So this law that is here says that you have to report it. So when all device manufacturers have to give up their keys, is this going to mean that every company is going to have to say that the phones were broken from the beginning?
Well, it's my understanding that the two bills have no direct relevance to each other. I think I don't want to talk about the other bill here, but essentially this bill deals with the notification requirement because that's current law. The data breach notification law is already which is already in statute, requires that if the information is unencrypted, then the notification trigger would be pulled. So all we're doing here with this bill is the fact that we're dealing with the situation where the encryption key has been lost. So we're not dealing with anything else. We're not requiring encryption per se. We're not dealing with anything else. We're just addressing a very narrow issue that concerns the loss of the encryption key.
I apologize to the author and committee members. I was probably a little bit too loose on this. This is probably not appropriate. If it's if you're giving testimony, that's great. Questions, you can do that offline. So, anything from the committee members? Seeing none, if we could go to a vote. Oh, I close, Mr.
I respectfully ask for a vote.
Okay, we can go to a vote.
The motion is due pass to appropriations. Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker? Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Chang? Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Aye. DeBobne, aye. Gatto? Aye. Gatto, aye. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe? Aye. Lowe, aye. Olson?